Welcome back to Customs by J-Mac. Today, it's not really a custom. This is the work pickup that I've been talking about, and this is the damage that it sustained. Guess he got too close to a pile of concrete down on the creek. The impact was from the front here, and it caught on the edge of the door, and you can see the door is actually overlapping down here. Got a huge gap up here, and you can actually see in the pickup up here. The door does still open. It does not close very good. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see how the cab is caved in there on the back of this hinge? It's pushed in, I would say it's pushed in a good 1/2 of an inch, which is pretty amazing that it went that much. So if the hinge is pushed in like that, I mean, unless it pulled out on the front, I guess if the hinge went in like that, it would push the pivot point of the hood hinge pin. It would push it back. So this newer pickup does have a quick release here for the door wiring. So I think I could just take the nuts and bolts off of the door, and your thing that's supposed to keep your door from being overextended there and holds it open. I can take all those bolts out, and I think this door will just come off. And then I don't know if I can hook onto this hinge. I've got an old frame rack of my grandpa's from way back in the day, and I might see if I can hook onto that hinge and pull that A-pillar out where it's supposed to be. And then I don't know if I will bolt up the door that I'm going to replace this one with and see how it fits. I don't really think I can repair this door, and I'll bet where the hinge is hooked to the door, I bet it's all tweaked way out too. I'll probably just end up replacing this fender. It's got other damage and dents and dings in it. I tried to just find a door and a fender in this color. When I ordered these pickups, I built them to spec, and this color was an option in 11, but I don't think it was a going thing. I can't find another door or fender that color, so I'm gonna have to paint them. But I know I can find this fender in the junkyards and stuff. I could find that door too, but I have one. If it'll work, I can save $300 or $400 by just reusing that one, and then might as well repurpose it, because otherwise it's just going to sit around and start rusting and collecting dust. I'm going to get that wire unhooked and get the bolts out of this door, and we'll jerk it off and see where we go from there. But you can see that the door is in here and then way out here, and that's from that hinge being kinked like that. So I'll get to tearing it apart and then bring you back when we're maybe hooked up and pulling on it and see what we can do to it. All right, that just took a couple of minutes to pull that door off of there. This quick disconnect for the wiring and stuff, that was one of Ford's better ideas right there. You don't have to take the whole door apart, pull all the wires out, just take the door off. Excellent idea. They probably fired that guy Whoever thought of that, they were probably like, nope, you're gone. I'm just kidding. With this door gone, you can really see how much it pushed that hinge in. And you can see there's a gap up here in the front. That's from it rocking that back like that. So I think I am gonna wrestle Grandpa's old frame rack around. This bottom ear here, it looks like it's kicked back. Just slap that with a hammer. I don't think these hinges are still tight, and I think that ear being a little bent, I think, is the only thing that would be wrong with them. I think that A-pillar just caved in there, and that's where we got most of our movement. I haven't even looked at the front of the door here yet. Okay, the front of the door down here, it's definitely bowed out where the bolts go. I would say that this top one is a little pulled too, but not like the bottom. I don't know if I can put the nut on here and just tap that back in. You can see how kinked this door is here, where the hinge actually made contact with the door here. No, that's not right. I don't know what did that. Why did it? I don't know why it would have kinked like that right there. Huh, it looks like it hit the hinge, but the hinge was 8 inches above that. So I don't know what it hit there. I'll wrestle that frame rack over here real quick. It's just the old type that you just wheeled under the car and got a hold of it. It works. It's nothing like the, you know, $50,000 to $100,000 frame racks that you drive the vehicle up on, but for the light work and everything, it works just fine. And you can wheel it away against the wall and have all of your shop without having, you know, a whole car-sized table where you can't do anything. So I'll get that hooked up. Hopefully I can just give this a little pull and that'll pop out. I'll get set up and bring you guys right back. I got my post here, air over hydraulic. This cylinder here will push back on this post and pull on whatever you got it hooked to. I know these aren't the right chains, so don't bust my you-know-what too hard over it. Dad had a couple of chains on the back of the pickup, so I'm just gonna roll with them. Okay, it is moving. I don't want to pull it too far. This tower here is supposed to get up under the frame, and then that makes it to where it doesn't just pick up the unit. I had too much slack in my other chain, and that, I think it's hitting the bottom of the cab now. I had it under that pinch weld. It's probably in a better place now than it was before. So I'm going to give it just a little bit more. Like I said, I don't want to go too far with it, and it's gonna spring back just a little bit, but if we go past center too much, it won't. It'll oil can out, it'll go bonk, and it'll pop out, and that's where it will remain. And then we have to try to figure out how we're gonna push it back in without going and hitting a big chunk of concrete. So we'll go just a little bit more. Oh! Did you see how much that just popped out? I think we should quit. Let's let it off and see where it stays here. I don't think it went back. Oh man, that's like perfect. Look at that. That's perfect. I'll tap this ear here. This ear that you can see it's kind of tweaked out just a little bit. I'll tap that with a 2-pound BFH, and I'm gonna put a nut on this stud and tap it, and then I'll tap this here in just a little bit, And then I think we'll put this old door up there and we'll see how it fits. I don't see myself repairing this door. I don't want to put a bunch of Bondo or anything in it, and it's bad. I mean, it kinked it really bad. And I don't, section in part of that door or anything like that. Doesn't really make sense either. So I'll slap this door back on real quick and we'll see how it fits. I got this door all bolted back up. I have not tried to close it yet. I did put a little upward tension on the bottom of the door when I bolted it up, just so that it wasn't sagging. We'll see how much out of adjustment we are. Okay, well, that's not good. We are now about an inch, 1 full inch below the striker. I don't know if we can get in here and see this or not. Okay. Oh, the LED light is strobing like crazy. Look at that. Okay. So there's the catch, the latch. And there is the striker. We need to be 3/4 of an inch to an inch. The door is actually now in reverse. We've got a gap down here and we're tied up there. So that actually makes it worse than it was, but I still think that we're on the right path. See, we're low here on that line, but that could be that when that fender got hit, it pushed that up too. But you can see on this body line here how far off we are there too. I can pick the door up and it'll latch. Still, it's gonna have we're tight here, we're gapped up there, but that's exactly the opposite of what it should be. I'll loosen those bolts back up real quick and we'll jack up the door and see if it changes. I was kind of hoping that it would just fit right after that. Alright, got my little stub of wood back in here. I just don't really know that this door will adjust that much. I drove this pickup out 650 this morning. I got the seats for it, and this thing sounds like a wind tunnel. It's bad enough to, I drove it to town and got the paint so they could take a picture of it and match it, but it's annoying. It's bad. It's like when you used to ride with your grandpa that couldn't hear all that good anymore, and roll his window up all but like 1/4 of an inch. He couldn't hear it anymore, but it'd just sound like a wind tunnel in there, and it'd bang and pop. You really didn't want to say anything to him, so you'd sit there until you were borderline insane, and then you'd be like, "Okay, roll up the window," and then he'd be like, "Oh, I didn't get it rolled up all the way." It was one of those deals, except for couldn't roll the window up, make it shut up. Yep, the exact same results. So what I'm guessing is that this door is tweaked that bad. I'm going to tell you that it's pulled. The bottom of it's pulled, so it's pushing the bottom of the door out now. So I'm going to do what everybody would do I'm going to set my jack up underneath the back of this door right here. And I'm going to jack it up. And I'm going to make it fit. Because this is just going to be temporary so that he can drive it while I'm painting the other door. So we'll just, these blocks of wood from when I built the stairs into my 2-story, and I like absolutely, I use them for everything. Well, it closes now. It's far from perfect. It falls. I gained about 1/4 of an inch there. Oh, let's do it again. Maybe we'll do it over here a little more. That seems to work. But look at these body lines. That's horrible. So what I'm thinking, I think this striker here you can see that striker, you can see where it is like fresh paint underneath it. That means that striker, I don't know that the striker like moved like completely up like this, but it rotated. Look how it's rotated. We've got 2 options. We can loosen that and try to adjust it, or we just stick a bar in there and try to undo what it did and see if that fixes it. There's some of these doors that you can put your knee into the bottom of them and pull on the top, and it will actually shift the whole door, which is crazy. And you would think, well, that means it's not very strong, but you know, when you go to really thinking about it, that's maybe why these newer vehicles, that's how they get the doors and everything to actually seal. Okay, so I rotated it down. That went good as far as the rotation. The striker is still up in the air. Grab my light so we don't slam it in the door. That's actually not that bad. It's up a little bit. I'll grab a Torx, lower that striker just a little bit. Probably should have took a better read on the striker itself as to what size it is. I have got to go through and reorganize my toolbox. I got done with that 650 and I just threw everything in the one drawer here, and then I'll have to go back and put it all away. I wonder if Ford went to a super Torx on these newer, by the 2011, if they went from a Torx to the super Torx. Haha, I was right. Sit back down here where I can see. Now, they did not put a lot of adjustment on these pins either. If you tear the door apart, it's encased and you get very, very little adjustment. It's not like the pickups were back in the 80s and 90s where you could move this striker a lot. See if I can get you set up here without having you fall off of there. Okay, see what that says. Ooh. Man, I like that. Okay, we're still got a little bit more gap at the top than we do at the bottom. That's from that door getting pulled, or the hinge getting pulled a little bit. You can no longer see in the cab up here. I don't think I could work on this for another 15 or 20 minutes and possibly get that door to fit a little bit better, but this is just totally temporary as far as trying to get it to where he can drive it without it driving him insane. So I think I'm going to call that a win. We'll give him his chains back. Now he'll have a pickup that he can drive and tend to the cows and stuff with without it driving him totally BSC bat crazy. I guess that's good enough. We'll call this a win. I'll get this back to him, and then I'll get to work on the door that's actually going to go on it, and I'll get him a fender found and do some scuffing and painting, and then we'll bring this back in and put it together. He's got a couple of oil leaks on his bed that I will tend to, and he's got a bit of a click when you put it in park, most likely a U-joint again. This pickup will go back to work. I'm going to go to lunch because my stomach tells me that it is lunchtime. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one. Like, share, and subscribe, and keep watching here on Customs by J-Mac. We're going to be bringing in a project this weekend that'll be a full build. Hopefully while Slim is here this weekend, he can get the rockers in his Fury. We can use that wrecker that I got put together and pull the old chassis out of the shop. We can clean up all of the scrap metal. We'll get the doors hauled over and put in storage so that we can steal the parts out of those doors to put electric windows and locks and everything in that 56 Plymouth Fury. And then I'll have room over there to pull in my next project. It's going to be a full build. I will warn you, it's nothing that hasn't been done on YouTube, but I think it's a good place to kind of start as far as a full build. This cab's going to be going out. I don't think there's any reason to keep it, so that cab will go. I'll bring in the car that I'm going to pull the powertrain and everything out of for that next project so we can get it started. Hopefully it'll be over there in the other shop. The car will be over here on the two posts because I'm going to need to be able to get under it and over it and around it and everything. It'll be over here to get tore down, but the project will happen in the other shop. I appreciate y'all for watching. Catch you later.